Now the Seltos is Kia's compact crossover, and I have kind of a history with the Seltos itself. I've basically driven the Seltos every year since it came out. My first review of the Seltos was very unfavorable, but every year after that, it's gotten a bit better and better. And now here in 2023, we're looking at the 2024 Seltos with a few new bits on it. And the question is, what do we think now? Let's dive into it. All right, and first off, for 2024, we do have 5 trim levels, starting with the LX. Then you jump into the S, the EX, the X line, and finally the SX, which is what we're driving here. And of course, depending on which trim level you get, is gonna depend on the engine setup. It's gonna depend on the interior and what you're able to get on this vehicle. The base LX comes standard in all-wheel drive configuration. The S comes standard in a front-wheel drive configuration, but the rest of the lineup all has all-wheel drive, including this SX. And before we dive deep into anything else, let's quickly go over the exterior. There are a few bits here that are new, but first off, we do have the Pluton Blue here with Fusion Black roof. So you can get this kitted out in a solid color or a color with a black roof. This wouldn't be my go-to color, but I really do like it, especially for the female target market that this is targeted to. I could definitely see my mother driving this. We do have an upgraded grille for the 2024. We do have LED projection headlights with LED fog lights, and you have those LED lights coming in to the Tiger Nose grille. It's still a design that I don't quite like. Of course, I've had pushback on that, but style and design is always relative, so we'll get past that. The front fascia has a very aggressive rake with a brushed aluminum style plastic cover. Our side mirrors are gloss black that match the roof. They do have the integrated turn signal. They're also heated side mirrors, so that's nice for the winter. The stock wheels on the SX are 17-inch, but we do have 18-inch wheels here. They are 18-inch alloy wheels with a dual tone, and they look decent enough. We do have aluminum roof rails, a little bit of a rear spoiler added, and rear privacy glass. Around the back is also some LED rear combination tail lights, and you got that Seltos badge and the 4X badge back there as well. And touching quickly on the size of this vehicle, the total length is 172.6 inches. Wheelbase is 103.5. It's 64 inches tall and 70.9 inches wide with a ground clearance of 7.3 inches, which is definitely respectable. And overall, the styling of the Seltos is probably one of my least favorite things about the vehicle. It's not terrible, but Kia makes a lot of really good looking vehicles, and this is probably my least favorite Kia. But again, style subjective. Let's go ahead and pop the hatch and check out the cargo volume. First off, this is the top of the line trim. It's the SX. It's a gas strut for the opening. The SX is available with a power lifting hatch. This does not have it, but looking in the cargo area, we do have a cargo volume of 26.6 cubic feet. You can fold the seats down and get a total cargo capacity of 62.8 cubic feet, which is super good. We also do have a cover that's removable for our cargo, and you do get a compact spare tire back here, which on some of these compact crossovers is becoming rare. And again, all good. Let's go ahead and check out the engine under the hood. All right, first off, the base engine for the base trim levels is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, naturally aspirated. That pushes 146 horsepower, 132 pound-feet of torque, and is matched up to Kia's CVT transmission. Starting with the X-line trim and up, including this SX, we have the 1.6-liter turbocharged engine. This pushes 195 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque, so a nice little bump, but is also matched up to an 8-speed automatic transmission, which is a great addition. And with that, let's go ahead and jump inside, start taking a look at the interior, and then we'll take it for a drive and I'll talk about the power out of this thing. All right, guys, here in the front seats, in the driver's seat, we're not going to check out the rear seats in this review. I have reviewed this vehicle plenty of times and been in the back seats, so if you're interested in that, go check those out. That being said, it's a good size. Kids fit back there really well. No issues or complaints with the overall interior volume. So let's dive into this interior in particular, starting with these seats. They are the black syntax materials, so it's not real leather, but they're leather-like, and it's a good material. You've got perforation, you've got the white stitching, all looks really good, super comfortable. Moving along to the door trim, it is black with the gloss black. You can see our Bose speaker here for the Bose premium audio system that we get. More nice leather-like material here on the dash, leather shift knob, leather sport steering wheel. Let's go ahead and kick it on and check out all the tech here. It is a push button start. And immediately you see the dual 10.25 inch panoramic display. So it does have this single piece here that makes it look like one full panoramic display. Obviously it is two different screens. This one is touchscreen with the navigation, with Apple CarPlay, with the Android Auto. Kia's infotainment system looks really nice, really responsive, even in this kind of lower end vehicle in the Kia lineup. No complaints there. I really do like Kia's infotainment system. We'll get back to the driver information display in just a sec, but first, let's check out underneath that display. We have our AC vents and our hazard lights, and then all of our AC and heat controls and our radio controls. Now, pretty much all year, all the Kias I've driven have had the new dual display. It's just one touchscreen display down here that can switch between radio functions and AC functions. And I quite like that a lot more than this setup. Even if you do have to switch between functions on one screen, the setup of it was a lot easier. But that being said, this traditional setup is no real issue. Moving below that, we do have a tray for our phone for wireless charging down here. So you just throw your phone on there, it'll start wirelessly charging. We've got a couple of charging outlets here, a USB Type-C, a USB Type-A, and a 12-volt accessory port there. Now the USB Type-C is only for charging. You have to have USB Type-A if you want to interface with the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which is a bit of a bummer in a lot of Kias. We do have our traditional gear shifter here. Like I said, leather boot, leather top. Put it into reverse. We do get our backup camera, no 360 camera. You do have a sport manual shift mode there. We do have a drive mode select. That puts you between normal, sport, and smart modes. Below that, we do have heated seats here. You can get heated and cooled, but this just has heated seats. We have a quick button for our backup camera. Again, no 360. And then on this side of the shifter, we do have some of our cool little functions for the all-wheel drive, including a center diff lock, which is really great to have in this segment. And then a hill descent control, which again is a pretty nice to have in this segment. Back further is our electronic parking brake and auto hold button, cup holders, an extra little cubby here, armrest, decently padded, decent sized cubby there. Again, this SX Turbo is equipped with a sport steering wheel, so it's got more of a flat bottom here. Nice, beefy steering wheel. You've got all your different controls here on the steering wheel, as you would expect. No paddle shifters or anything. And finally, our driver information display, which you can thumb through a few different options to see here, but doesn't have a lot of the customizations that you might be familiar with for a full LCD panel. That being said, I think the interior does look really nice. I do like the full panoramic display segment here. I like the color combinations. I like that the speakers have this extra little pattern to them. Just breaks it up and makes it look really nice here. And that's a quick but pretty thorough walkthrough of the whole interior and some of the tech that we have here. Let's go ahead and get this thing out on the road, start talking about the drive, the power, the extra safety features that we have, and then we'll wrap it up talking about the price and some of my final thoughts. Let's keep this thing rolling. All right, so let's get this thing going. Straight away, I don't think that the engine sounds all that great. You can hear it pretty well, especially as you're going slower. There's no real exhaust note to speak of. even in sport mode. Can dial it in here, put it into sport mode, and lay on it a bit. Again, the engine wakes up, but no real exhaust to speak of, and it can go pretty quick. We're not going to do like a 0 to 60 run in here or anything. Normal mode, you're just normally driving. The smart mode is sort of like an eco mode. It tries to preserve efficiency as much as possible and smartly add power where it can. The steering wheel feels really good in the hands. All the buttons on the steering wheel, easy to control. The biggest gripe that I would have with the interior with being able to reach stuff is turning up and down the AC fan or the AC and heat fan. It's a bit of a stretch to get to just because it's on the very far side. Definitely just a nitpick, but it's really the only thing that I would complain about throughout the week of this interior. Road noise is very minimal, which is really nice with this subcompact class. Wind noise also very minimal. It's definitely a vehicle that you can do long distance in and not be fatigued that much. Like I said, the seats are comfortable, the seating position is comfortable, plenty of headroom, shoulder room. I'm 6'1", a bigger guy, and I fit in this thing just fine. As far as fuel economy goes, in this one, the 1.6 turbo, you'll be looking at 25 mpg city, 27 highway, with a combined rating around 26. I've been averaging 22.1 miles per gallon. I've basically done 0 highway mileage throughout this entire week that I've had it, so take that for what you will. It's definitely not a thirsty vehicle, but there are more fuel efficient options if that's what you're looking for. If safety is what you're looking for, that's a place that Kia really excels, and in the Seltos it definitely excels. We do have radars all around. We do have the navigation based radar guided cruise control with the lane keeping assist. Works really well in this vehicle. Definitely like the Kia, Hyundai lane keeping assist technology. Works really well in all the vehicles that I've tested it on. And really every time that I drive a Seltos, I'm reminded that the power out of this thing, the driving dynamics out of the Seltos are really good, especially with this 1.6 liter turbocharged engine and the 8-speed automatic transmission. The 2 liter with the CVT, definitely not as nice, but Kia really knows how to dial in a decent ride, and sometimes that's all you're looking for. And then one of the claims to fame for the Seltos is its all-wheel drive prowess, especially this one, the SX all-wheel drive and the X-Line that is the trim right below this. Like I said, we do have that center diff lock. We've got the hill descent control, and it's a pretty good all-wheel drive system. We've got that good ground clearance. Obviously, you're not going to be taking this thing in the same places you would be taking a Jeep or a 4Runner. But if you need to get onto a camping trail and you've got to climb a slippery hill or get through some rough spots, the Seltos should do fine. It's just, again, if those are the things I'm doing, this isn't really exactly what I'd be looking for. But that doesn't mean nobody else is. So, and like most vehicles, the big determining factor is gonna be the price that this thing sits at. So let's find a place to pull back over. We'll talk about the price, some of my thoughts on the competition, and then we'll wrap it up with some of my final thoughts. Let's get into it. All right, so let's quickly talk about the price of this thing, and we'll talk about some of the competition we have here. So first off, the LX, the base trim, starts at $24,390, and that's a pretty good starting price for what you get. I haven't driven the base trim or reviewed it. I would like to. I always like to drive some of the base trims of vehicles. Usually when we're doing these reviews, the manufacturers want to send us the newest and greatest that you can get. So every time I've reviewed a Seltos, I've had the SX, which is what we're in here. And the SX starts at just under $30,000, so $29,990. Now this specific test vehicle that we have here didn't have an MSRP with it, but with a few options that it does have and destination charges, it's easily gonna hit the $32,000 range. And at that price, is still decent for everything that you get. Pretty standard for the market, but it is still a lot of money for a subcompact crossover. Some of the competition includes the Hyundai Kona, which is basically the cousin car to this, the Honda HR-V, which the new one looks a lot better than they used to. I haven't reviewed it or test driven it yet, but again, I would like to. The Ford EcoSport, which I could do without. The Mazda CX-30, which I do like. The Subaru Crosstrek, which I've driven twice and reviewed 2 different trim levels of the 2024 and really like that thing. You can also put this up against the Chevy Trailblazer, which for a day-to-day driver, I do like the Trailblazer. If you're going off-roading, this probably is a bit better. Then you have the new Toyota Corolla Cross, which I briefly test drove, and it's decent. All of that being said, out of the competition, I do like the Subaru the most, and the Hyundai Kona kind of second on that list. But before we dive any deeper into that, let's jump out and I'll give you some of my final thoughts. All right, guys, so after a full week with this 2024 Seltos, and having a good history with it, knowing how it drives, it's still not my favorite in the segment. It's a perfectly fine vehicle. The power's fine. The looks, if you like them, are fine. The interior's fine. It's all just a pretty bland standard package, which again works for a lot of people. So the looks in all this time haven't grown on me, but the interior and just the drive-wise with this 1.6 turbo definitely have improved. And it's got some decent off-road cred if you're doing some camping or light off-roading, but there's definitely other things out on the market that will do just as much for around the same price. So that's my take on the Seltos. If you're interested in it, it's a decent enough vehicle. There's nothing that would stop me from recommending it. But with that, that's all I got for you in this video. I hope you did enjoy. Please hit the thumbs up button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about these Seltos. Even all the hate towards me, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you're into automotive reviews. We do a different review every week. Also go check out TXGARAGE.com, where we do a lot of written reviews as well as event and news coverage from a lot of great authors over there, not just myself. With that, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching.